A lot of people say that this is the best series or season of the entire show. I can't really say that. It's definitely a great season, don't get me wrong, I just can't say it's my favorite. It has two of the best episodes of the entire show, but it also has one of the worst. I'll touch on it after the intro, so go ahead. Sherlock Series 2. So Series 2 picks up immediately right where Series 1 left off. It was a cliffhanger. You know, it was the indoor pool. Sherlock had the gun pointed at Moriarty and it was like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? What's he gonna shoot? Is he gonna shoot something? I'm not gonna say what ends up happening just in case you don't know, but what happens there is kind of like, oh, okay, that's one way out of it. I mean, yeah, no one dies in this scene, which is actually kind of obvious. We have not seen Moriarty that much, so he's not gonna die now. What a waste. And of course, Sherlock's not gonna die. Watson's not gonna die. So alright, moving on. The first episode of this series is A Scandal in Belgravia. This is my favorite episode of this season. It starts out establishing that thanks to Watson's blog, Sherlock has become a celebrity. Every case Sherlock solves makes the news. You know, he even rocks the Basil Rathbone hat at one point. My dad just taught me this. This is an homage to the old school Basil Rathbone Sherlock Holmes films of like the 1940s. Who knew, right? It's probably in other Sherlock Holmes lore elsewhere, but alright, moving on. That's not really important. What's really important in this episode in particular is a new character by the name of Irene Adler. You may have heard of her. Irene Adler comes into play and she rocks Sherlock's world. In the best way. I mean, I'm gonna make another Batman analogy here. You know how I said that Sherlock and Moriarty are like Batman and the Joker? I would say that Sherlock and Irene Adler are like Batman and Catwoman. She's on his level, but you're like, is she on his side? Is she not? Sherlock just doesn't know what to think of this chick. And everything that he and Watson and Mycroft have to go through in this episode, it's actually kind of emotional. It's pretty cool. By the end of the episode, you will see why it's my favorite, because Irene Adler is the woman that has gotten under Sherlock's skin. You know how normally Sherlock is disconnected, he's closed off, he's all about the case. He doesn't care about actual human lives that much, but Irene Adler is the woman who pushed through, and I love that. Moving on to the second episode, The Hounds of Baskerville. I don't hate this episode or anything. There's no episode of this entire show that I hate, but this is one of the worst ones. Because really, by the end of this one, you don't really feel like it needed to happen at all. This is just another case. There's really nothing special about it. There's no character development at all or anything. It's just a basic case, and you can say that about the first couple episodes in Series 1, but the difference is that after Episode 2 in Series 1, we have some really hard-hitting episodes. Those are like the really good epic ones. You have the big Moriarty episode to wrap up Series 1. Then you have Irene Adler to kick off Season 2. Two fantastic episodes followed by just another basic case. You know what I mean? It's a step down. You don't gain anything from this episode like you did from the last two. And there's some terrible CG at the end. I'm just saying, it's pretty bad. Whenever I watch Series 2 of Sherlock, I often skip this episode. I watch Scandal in Belgravia, and then I go right into the Reichenbach Fall, because that episode, holy shit. This is the big Moriarty episode, because this is where he really shines. He's played by Andrew Scott, and at first he doesn't really come off as all that threatening, and he's really not. I mean, at least not in person. I mean, Sherlock is taller than this dude. They're talking face to face. He's looking down on him, and it's good dialogue, you know? It's a battle of wits, and I always like that shit. Like that scene on the rooftop in Daredevil Season 2, Episode 3, where it's Daredevil and the Punisher, and it's just a clash of ideals. They're just talking. There's also a scene in Sherlock Season 2, Episode 3, on a rooftop, where it's Sherlock and Moriarty, and it's just a clash of ideals. I love that shit. See, Moriarty is going after Sherlock on the social level. He's kind of going the J. Jonah Jameson route, where if he can turn the general population against him, then he will fall from grace, and then he's gonna kill him. And you see his plan working throughout the entire episode. You're like, yeah, Sherlock should really do something about this, because Moriarty's winning here. And it all culminates with the finale of this episode, which is the rooftop scene. I do like the fact that Season 1 ended in a really dark indoor room, and Season 2 ends out on a rooftop in the daylight. It's a really nice contrast. Series 2 aired about a year and a half after Series 1, and it's kind of weird that that was the shortest gap between seasons in Sherlock. I don't know, this show works in mysterious ways. But like I said, Series 2 of Sherlock had two of the best episodes in this entire show. I love the Irene Adler episode, I love the Moriarty episode. You can just kind of pass off that second one. I really don't know what you could have done though. I mean, what do you do in the meantime between Irene Adler and Moriarty? Can you really come up with any good ideas? If you can, leave a comment, because I want to know. The best season of the show, in my opinion, is coming right up. So Sherlock Series 2, have you watched it? What is your favorite episode? If you say it's the second one, I want to know your reasons for it. Whatever it is, go ahead and leave a comment. And don't forget to subscribe.